Illinois' assault weapon ban is constitutional. That is the verdict from the state Supreme Court.
Joining us to break this down is Professor Stephen Caliendo from North Central College. Thank you so much for being with us today.
It's good to see you both. Thank you.
Let's get right into it. Before today, a lower court actually ruled the law was unconstitutional based on equal protections for everyone. Can today's ruling now be challenged?
It can be challenged, Tia, and it will be challenged. I'm certain that it will end up at the U.S. Supreme Court. It's important to note that some of these other gun-related cases that we've talked about over the years really centered on the Second Amendment to the U.S. Constitution. That's not what was at stake here. It was really questions about whether or not the law was passed properly and whether the legislature followed its own rules, and then whether or not the exceptions that it carved out created some unequal treatment of folks who weren't part of those exceptions compared to those who were, that is, retired military, police officers, et cetera. So you can bet that these constitutional questions will be petitioned to the U.S. Supreme Court. We'll just have to see whether or not the court accepts the case.
And based on the ruling today, does this law take effect immediately, and what other details should we know?
Yeah, the law's still in effect, so the details really are as laid out in the original law. That is, that there's a grandfathered provision that if you already own these types of weapons, they're not going to be, you don't have to surrender them. They have to be, you have to register that you have them, but you can't buy, sell, or possess the weapons or the cartridges that are described in the law. And it's the same law. That the law hasn't changed. It's just whether or not the question today was whether or not it could stand. And as of this morning, the Illinois Supreme Court believes that it can.
So I know that you said that this will obviously be challenged, but speaking politically, what does today's ruling mean for the Democrats that backed and pushed this bill to become law?
Well, it's a short-term win for the Democrats, for sure. We'll see where it goes from here. After the mass shootings that we've had, particularly the 4th of July shooting, and that was the impetus for this bill, there was a lot of pressure to do something. And that's what you hear a lot from folks who want more regulations of firearms, particularly high-capacity firearms. We have to do something. It's lots of talk and no action. And so there was action here on the part of the state legislature and the governor. But was it a constitutional action? That was the question that was left. Darren Bailey had a really interesting video he posted this morning from his porch on Facebook. And if that's any indication about how the Republicans are going to respond, I think we're in for a long political battle on this one as well.
That's right. Darren Bailey says the fight has just begun. Stephen Caliendo from North Central College, always a pleasure to see you. Thank you very much for your help.
Have a great weekend.
You too.